Hello! This lesson I want to talk to you about the way that computers create and display curved surfaces. More specifically, I want to talk about how our 3D modeling software approximates the curved surfaces on the sides of cones and cylinders, using a large number of flat faces, and how you knowing this can help you to create an even wider variety of 3D objects. Both the cone and the cylinder commands can take a third parameter, which can be used to adjust the number of flat faces that are used to approximate their outer curved surface. By changing this, you can change the smoothness of the surface, or with lower numbers of faces, you can create new 3D figures altogether. I'll show you how this works with cones first. I have an example cone in front of us in the viewport. Its base has a radius of 1, and the cone has a height of 1.5. We can see some lines running from the tip of the cone to the base. These are the sides of the flat triangular faces that make up this curved surface. Check it out. If we zoom in, you can see them a little better. The default number of these faces is 64, which creates a reasonably smooth surface for the cone. We can use a third parameter in the cone command to change this number of faces. But if we enter a 64 as a third parameter, and then we run our program, then you can see we have exactly the same cone. If we switch that up and make it 128, which doubles the number of faces, and then run our program, then our cone gets much smoother. Even if we zoom in, we can't really see the lines. However, if we decrease the number of faces, we can create entirely different shapes that aren't cones. If we put in a 12 and run our program, then we have a 12-sided pyramid. If we lower that down even more to a 4 and run our program, we get a 4-sided pyramid. Now let me turn our cone, my object, into a cylinder so I can explain how this works for cylinders. I'll do this by changing the all caps cone here to an all caps cylinder, removing the last parameter and running our program. We now have a cylinder in front of us with a radius of 1 and a height of 1.5. If you look closely, you can see the flat surfaces on the side of it, which are used to approximate this curved surface. These surfaces appear to be rectangles, but even these rectangles are made inside the program using triangles. These triangles which make the rectangles can't be seen individually, but it's important to know that it is still triangular faces and not necessarily rectangles that are used to approximate the curved surface. Just like with the cone command, you can change the third parameter to change the number of flat faces used to simulate this curved surface. Again, more faces means a smoother surface, but a slower program and a larger file. We put in 128 and run the program, then the surface of our cone, or of our cylinder, has just gotten smoother. Also, like cone, you can create completely different non-cylindrical objects by using a lower number in the third parameter. For example, I'll make our cylinder into a hexagonal or 6-sided prism just by changing the third parameter into a 6 and running the program. There we go. Now let's sum up what we've learned in this lesson. When we make cones and cylinders, the curved surfaces on their sides are approximated by a finite number of flat faces. We can control the number of faces that we use with an optional third parameter to the cone and the cylinder commands. Remember that when we have more faces on these surfaces, they appear smoother, though the file is larger and the program takes more time to run. Also, remember that by using smaller numbers for the third parameter, we can make pyramids with the cone command and prisms with different numbers of sides using the cylinder command.